Hey everyone, it's Mylixia. I wanted to make a video mostly for the community around MCast and our community to explain what's been going on, a little bit about the new coach, and the future that I'm going to take. So I hope you'll join me for this. I'm going to try not to get too much into any of the esports politics and just sort of go through a brief history, kind of understand what led us to what's going on here now. And that started in October, I think, when the initial announcement was made to get coaches. And we had thought for a while that we already had one. That turned out to not be true. So it became the task of Team Dignitas' management and myself to build an infrastructure that allowed us to go without coaching for a while, because we weren't sure that Riot was going to go so serious with it. I don't think anybody was. The fact that they were going to stand on stage and have this gigantic role and everything, the North America scene was not used to that. And we were searching really hard to find some of those really qualified and that could live in the house. And what we found were really qualified people, but they ended up always being remote. And we still had, so we built a support staff like that. We figured that it would be sufficient, ran it by the team and the management. And I actually think that the support staff for Dig is really good. And I think even the players would agree with that. Definitely the players would agree with it. And that the problems with Dignitas are more synergy and roster related and not necessarily at all based on the support staff or the coach. But it was still really important to have a person in the house and someone that understands the game. So I identified pretty early in coaching this was something we were going to need. I started recruiting. I recruited like crazy. This was on top of being a coach and a manager at the same time. So I had two beyond full-time jobs on top of doing this, interviews and so many things to finally find Sammy. So I'm so grateful that we found someone that I think is really qualified and that everybody gets along with. I'll get into him a little bit later. I did the best I could while I was coaching. I tried to actually be a coach, and mainly that role was comprised of what I did as a life coach, bringing the team together, because as far as strategy, we already had that covered through our remote support staff. We had all the micro and macro covered by them. I didn't really need to contribute a lot of game knowledge. I just needed to lead discussions and bring people to conclusions and resolve disputes and things like that. So that's what I was doing mainly. And a lot of our strategy is very good. There were inter-team issues, execution issues, synergy issues, things like that. Like I said, I don't think I want to get too deep into those issues. I don't even know if they're really relevant, because I feel like every single team in esports has these problems. There's always periods where a team has to grow together and learn to work together, and that can sometimes take years for that team to become a top team. And I think Dignitas is in that growth period, so I'm not really going to focus on the problems. I don't think that's a good practice anyway, just in general for life. But in this particular case, it's especially not good because I feel like the team had to grow together and is still growing. So let's see, that puts us, so I did that coaching stuff, that puts us to now. I had finally done this interview with Sammy. I really liked the interview. He was completely solid, professional, knowledgeable. We brought him in on a couple of the team calls like I did for a lot of other people, and he carried himself very well. And I had always had the option to move in to Los Angeles full-time and actually be a league coach. That was something that I could have dedicated myself totally to. It's very lucrative. It pays very well. But it's not in my dharma, is the word I'm going to use, because it's so appropriate. It's kind of a strange word. It means kind of your path or your expected vision of your life. It's not within my dharma with what I really want to do. I really respect the career, and I respect people that have careers in esports. There are some people there that really belong, and that you can just tell that that's like their destiny. That's what they're there to do. For me, though, I mean, my destiny has always been in business development and personal development. I want to create people and businesses that make impacts on the world. I want to make as big of a difference as I can there and really change things by introducing concepts that help people live better lives. That's always been what I've been about. And being a coach, it was really far away from that direction, to the point where I started to get really depressed because I was unable to connect with my core community over at Twitch, which is just so many friends and people that have supported me in the past through a lot of difficult things. And at the same time, I felt like I was killing that community too, because I couldn't broadcast. So I wasn't able to connect with them. And I basically had no one that could really understand what I was going through, being a coach, manager, and all these things at the same time. But I knew that being a coach was not what I wanted to do. So I moved on. When we finally found Sammy, I mean, I didn't rush it. I made sure that he was the applicant that we needed, and I firmly believe that Team Dignitas will benefit a lot with him. But once I was able to step away, I did immediately. And I think going into the future for Dignitas, in the long run, the support and the infrastructure that Team Dignitas has is pretty incredible. I think that the LCS team still needs to grow. They need to overcome a lot of other problems. And Sammy will have his hands full for sure. And so will I, because I'm still managing, so I'll get to that in a second. We will have our hands full for sure. But over the long term, Team Dignitas has been around for so long. I don't think that it's going to be a big deal for them to come back. You know, we can look at things in terms of 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, because the infrastructure of the team is so vast, and the structure that Odie has set up is good. So I don't think that the organization, you know, we have 14 teams, over 60 players, something like that. Even if we completely lost the LCS team for a split, we would still be rebuilding and bringing it back. So I'm not worried about Team Dignitas at all. And then the most important part of this video, I think, is the future for what I'll be doing. So one of the most difficult things for me was traveling every single week to Los Angeles. I lost 2 days of time on my travel, basically, because I couldn't do anything productive, on Mondays when I got back. I was so tired from barely sleeping because I had so much work to do at the house, at the LA house, that I oftentimes was totally unable to do anything on Mondays. I just crash. So this weekend will be the last weekend that I'm doing that, and I will still go to Los Angeles either when I'm needed or just to check up on things if I have an agenda or I need something done or I need to meet with sponsors or any number of things like that. I'll still be traveling, but that will be a lot less frequent than it was, probably every 3 weeks. As for me, I am stepping back from coaching, so I'm completely giving that role to Sammy. I trust him. He's good. He's good. He's got the knowledge. He's got the capability to do it. And I'm going to move back to doing North America management. And I never stopped doing that. So I'm just going to be doing that still. But it frees up the time that I would have had being a coach, which is a full 40-hour a week plus job, probably 50 or 60-hour a week job. So I will still be doing all of the management stuff for Dig. That means I'll be running North America, working with Odie to expand North America, doing sponsorships, everything. There's such a huge list of things that it takes to be a manager. And there's so much I still need to do and so much we still need to expand on. So that's going to be a huge part of what I'm doing. But with the extra time, I will be returning to broadcasting every day, at least for a little while. Makes me so happy, I can't even tell you. I'm concerned, honestly. I've taken so much time off that I don't know if the broadcast will be able to recover. I've said that in the past so many times because we've gone through such difficult games or transitions or things like that. It's crazy. If this broadcast ever became a Cinderella story and got 500 or 1,000 viewers, that would be something pretty incredible, given everything that's happened to it. If it survives this one, I think it could survive everything. And I want the community to know that I'm so sorry that I haven't been here, and I feel like I did a disservice to my subs and to the people that have supported me for so long. I just found myself with so much responsibility. There was no way that I could broadcast. I was worked to the bone every single day, and pulled in so many directions. And I still have so much responsibility. So my commitment is that I will try to run the broadcast again. And there's a corollary that I'm kind of excited about League of Legends right now, so I'll be streaming more of that. And I think that'll help our viewership. If the broadcast can keep going and we can support it, then I will keep doing it. If it can't, then I'll probably have to stop it in a few months, but we just have to see what happens. So far, the last few days I've been back, it's been really good. There's been a lot of people that have jumped into the community and said, hey man, we understand what happened. We're going to still support you. That's just amazing to me. It just kind of goes to show how awesome this community is and how many real friends that the broadcast has and has brought together. So in addition to the management for Team Dignitas and for the broadcast, I'm also really going serious on starting Project No Limits, which is my personal development company. It's a company about peak performance and self-improvement, and that is my dharma. That is something that I have wanted to do my entire life, and I have not gotten serious about it because I think I've wanted it took a lot of self-actualization to get to the point where I could be comfortable coaching other people about self-improvement. For you to be able to live and teach other people about self-improvement, you yourself, I myself, need to be at a very high level to think and act in that way. Everything that I do is reflective of what I teach. And so I had to work for a long time on myself to get to that point. What I'm going to be doing first is I'm going to be developing a projectnolimits.com. It's going to be a full functioning blog forum. It's already in development. I've already paid the developers the first phase of it. It's so exciting. It's going to have a lot of books, programs, courses, everything. I'm going to be giving away tons of stuff for free. There will be a paid side, but it will mostly be like $2 to $4 books. And I'm just incredibly excited about it. It's self-improvement is something that I've been obsessed with since I was a kid. I want to teach it. I want to bring it to the world. I want people to live better lives. I want people to be happier. I think we live in a world where people are shut down, suppressed, depressed. They can't figure their way out, and they want to get a better life, but they don't know how. I want to be at the forefront of making that change for people. That is what really gets me passionate, really moves me forward. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be running that. And in addition to that, in the broadcast, I'll be staying with Team Dignitas because I still think that their culture is great. I think that they really have a sound future, and I want to build that business to a point where they never need to worry about resources and they can do everything that they want to do. And at that point, I will most likely step away if it's the right time for me to do so and focus completely on Project No Limits. And if my broadcast survives, I'll do that. So that's what's going on with me. I'm coming off of a really stressful time. I'm coming off of just an unbelievably stressful time. And there's not going to be any cooldown, really. I'm just going to move right back into doing all the management stuff, the broadcast and everything. I think that's the right way to approach it. I don't think that I need to relax or have a cooldown. I just want to get back into my community. I want to work really hard for Team Dignitas and Project No Limits and my goals and make that happen. So there's nothing required of you. This is just, if you watch this video this long, you probably know a little bit more about my thought process. And if you have any other questions, you can ask me in the broadcast. I will be returning to a consistent time slot. I don't know if I'll change that from 2 p.m. Probably not. I kind of really like that time slot. But that will happen after Monday when I return from Los Angeles because I'll be showing Sammy around and doing all the managerial stuff there and making sure everything gets set up. So thank you for watching the video. I hope this kind of explains what my journey has been over the last 2 months. And most importantly, thank you so much for being a part of this community and just supporting me through everything that has happened. I have not always been the wisest decision maker in the past that I've taken, but I have some really good friends that support what I've done and understand, and that is the greatest gift. So thank you to everyone that has done that. And there's some amazing people in my life as well, like my girlfriend, and mainly my girlfriend that's been there to support me despite all that's happened. And also, I have to say, Odie in particular, Team Dignitas, Odie, the entire way, sometimes he doesn't have the emotional connection to be able to support me, but he was always on my side, always supporting me, always doing everything he could to help me. And that was huge. There was no way that I could have handled it without him. So those two people, yeah, shout outs. All right, I'm going to end this video, edit it real quick, and then I'll upload it for you guys, and then I'll start my broadcast. So I will see you guys again very soon. Thanks a lot, and thanks for watching.